Hello and welcome back to FCK, the news, where in this week's episode, we're going to take a look ahead to the big Premier League fixture this weekend, which is not Leicester against Sheffield United, I've been reliably informed. It is, in fact, Arsenal's trip up to the European Champions Liverpool. Yeah, and I'm joined by a couple of podcasters for today's episode. We've got Daniel, our Liverpool fan. Hi, Daniel.
Yeah, all right, thanks, guys.
And we've got Mike Stavaroo.
Hello.
Our Arsenal fan. How are you, mate?
Yeah, good, mate. You?
Yeah, very well. So, it is the big one. We've had a couple of tasty fixtures already to start this Premier League season. We've had United Chelsea, we've had Man City Spurs. But just very quickly, in week one's episode, when we were down at Norwich City with Darren Eady, I did a rather silly thing, which was caught on camera. I made a bet, and it involved my bum cheek, and it involved Timu Pukki. I stupidly said that I didn't think that Timu Pukki would do very well this year, to the point that if he scored 10 league goals, I would get his face, name, just something resembling Timu Pukki on my backside. 2 games in, chaps, he's got 4 goals.
Looking too good for you so far.
Was that a stupid bet, Daniel?
Stupid's an understatement.
So, Mr. Darren Eady, Norwich City legend, FCK gaffer, I'm going to give him the honours. I'm going to let him do it, unless Timu Pukki wants to do it, as and when Timu Pukki reaches 10 league goals. But that being said, I've never wished injury on a footballer before. But if Timu Pukki injured himself and was out for the season, I personally wouldn't be massively upset. Just imagine that, my first ever tattoo.
Not that you'd wish that on anyone, but if it happens, you're not going to complain, you know?
And imagine it'll hurt on the bum cheek. Anyway, chaps, let's talk about the game this weekend. Both had very, very good starts. Mike, I'll start with you. This has been Arsenal's best start to a league season since 2009, 2010. That's 10 years nearly.
Yeah, I mean, when I saw that stat, I was like, what on earth
I mean, it is only 2 games.
Yeah, I know, but if you think about winning your first 2 games, you think for Arsenal, you know, big club, I mean, not that big anymore, but, you know, a top 6 club, you would expect them to win the first 2 games. But I was thinking about some of the results. You know, losing to Liverpool at home, I'm sure you remember that, mate. With Callum Chambers and Rob Holding, who were both about 19, playing at centre-back. And then I think about getting turned over by Aston Villa and Christian Benteke. And Luna scoring at the Emirates. And I think back and say, oh, yeah, that did happen. I think what happens with these results, you sort of just etch them out of your mind because it's so painful to process.
Well, do you remember the last time that Arsenal beat Liverpool in the league? I've done my research. It's a little while ago. It was a good win.
In the league?
Yeah.
I'm going to say no. I can't remember.
Do you remember last time Arsenal beat Liverpool?
Yeah, because Cazorla and Podolski scored.
It was 2014-15 season. You won 4-1. So it's been 8 games. 8 games.
Oh, I thought you meant at Anfield the last
time.
No,
just ever. So it's 4-1.
That was towards the end of the season. It didn't matter. It wasn't important.
Did it even matter? So, I mean, the question before our little chat with Daniel is, do you believe you can beat Liverpool?
I think you've got to look at Liverpool's fixtures before, which has given me more encouragement. Because I think if you look at how they played against Norwich, I think the score flattered them a bit, to be honest. I think there's certain deficiencies there that Arsenal can attack. I think we're going to be reliant on the front three and how they perform, Jake. Yeah. It's a good time to play them. Let's say that. I know that's an overused term, but I just think with Arsenal's attacking force, I think there's definitely they can get a result.
All right, there we are. Flattered against Norwich City. Think she's got weaknesses that they can go for. What do you reckon of that?
The scoreline against Norwich was flattering. It wasn't a 4-1 game. They played some really good football, made some decent chances. Southampton, we were lucky to get the win. We were lucky to get the win there. They were causing us problems, but at the same time, Arsenal could. I don't like the high line we're playing at the moment, and Arsenal will look to exploit that. But at the same time, because they're not great defensively, if they overcompensate, then we can exploit that. So they have to be really careful with their game plan. But I think if you look at their results at Anfield in the last 5 years, you'd think they're a relegation fodder. So the main thing they need to come first of all and do is make sure they don't come and get embarrassed, to be honest, and try and keep the score down. But if they're still in the game after an hour, they might have a chance. I mean, they might have an opportunity.
Yeah. So looking at Liverpool's start to the season, you're playing in, I think it's 7 or 8 competitions this year. You've got like the UEFA Super Cup, you've got then the World Cup Club Championship.
Which is why I wanted some signings, Jake.
Yeah, it's absolutely crazy. So, what do you make of the start of the season? Because I say the Southampton and Norwich game, it was okay. I mean, I know you won the games, but it didn't quite have maybe the zip that you ended last season like.
They do say that pre-season is about seeing where you are fitness-wise.
And you were losing a lot of games.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Pre-season, we were conceding goals left, right, and centre. But we haven't kept a clean sheet since the first friendly we played against. I think it was against Tranmere. So we've played the likes of Bradford, etc. We've been conceding goals. We got turned over by Napoli 3-0. But so those worries about the defensive line were there pre-season. I still think they're getting into a rhythm there, but just up front, we just have to be clinical. We were on Saturday and we got the result. But I'm hoping we perform tomorrow. Otherwise, Arsenal have got enough goals in them to come away from Anfield with something. But if we play properly, cut out the defensive errors, I think we can. I think we can win.
Well, I've got another stat for you both.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Liverpool started the season, of course, with a couple of wins. Finished the season last season really well. Now 11 consecutive Premier League wins. That is their best run in a Premier League season since who?
Since Brendan was there, when we almost...
Brendan Rodgers, you're right. In 2014-15, when Brendan Rodgers was in charge. And we're just saying with Daniel that maybe Liverpool haven't been brilliant at the start of the season, but 11 wins in a row. And I remember last season as well, they started kind of a little, not slowly, but they've just got this knack, Liverpool, even when they're not quite zipping and flying the front three, they still keep getting those wins.
I mean, I don't know what sort of stat, Jake, that carries on from one season over to the other. I mean, I don't know where you pulled that one out from.
Right. Are you criticising my stats?
Count.
That's a real stat.
There's about 3 months in between that.
That's 11 league wins in a row, mate. That's
I don't count that as a proper stat. But I agree what you say. I mean, the mark of a good side is to grind out wins when you're not playing well. And I think that's what Liverpool have done.
Sorry to cut in before you let you finish. When you lot had your run, I think it was the invincible season going into the next season, wasn't your 14 wins in a row effort that Man City broke? Wasn't that from one season to another season?
You know, I don't really remember that, to be honest.
I don't really remember that.
No.
So is that a yes?
Yes.
Yeah, it absolutely was.
enough.
So look, back to your point. They've got this knack of being a good side of just grinding out the wins and getting the results.
Yeah, no, they have, and it's fair enough. But I mean, they've got the flair players to turn it on. But what they've also added is the industrious players, and that's what you need. And that's what's going to get you to a title. And I think they were so unlucky last season. But I just think where Arsenal can target them is in that midfield and right back position, because I think if James Milner plays, I think there is a bit of a weakness there in terms of covering Trent and Matip.
He is a hench. There is no weakness.
No, he is, but
James
I just
Milner.
think he's getting on a bit, and I don't think he can get around the pitch as well as he can. I think if you play a midfield of Henderson, Keita, and Wijnaldum, I think that would trouble me a bit more, because pressing wise, I just think they're going to do much better. Yeah. But I've questioned Trent recently, because I just think positionally, let's be honest, he's not really a right back, is he? I mean, he's filling in, but in terms of in the big games, I know he offers a lot going forward, but if I was Jurgen Klopp, I'd say in this game, when you have to mark against someone like Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang at the back, I would much rather play Trent than someone like Joe Gomez, personally.
For me, Trent has to start, because I've never been a Monreal fan. I don't know how you feel, and I think he can get at him. One thing is that sometimes Trent overcommits defensively, and some of his defensive position isn't great, but he gives so much shots going forwards. He has to start as many games as possible, and I think he'll be a key to the attack tomorrow. So he has to play, and I think he can really get Arsenal, get those balls in, man. Yeah. Mr. Whippy, get them balls in, man.
You look at the two sides, and look at Man City's team as well. I think potentially look at Nicolas Pepe, Aubameyang and Lacazette. Yeah. You look at what Bernardo Silva, Raheem Sterling, whatever combination Man City want to go with, and you go with Liverpool's front three, Salah, Firmino and Mane. They're the three strongest attacks in the Premier League. Is there any concern looking at Liverpool's defence? We know Virgil van Dijk is just, basically the best centre-half in the world. He is. I don't think there's any argument at all.
Come on.
But I suppose it's the guy alongside him, isn't it? It's probably Joel Matip. Any issues? Any concerns about those boys going at him?
I think towards the end of last season, individually, obviously Van Dijk organises the back line. He's imperative to it. But I think, say the last 2 months of the season, I think Matip was arguably individually better than Van Dijk was.
Serious?
But, individually, over the whole season.
Big claim.
Just to end the season. Van Dijk is obviously clearly better, I mean just to end the season. But he wouldn't be able to do that without Van Dijk there, because Van Dijk organises and puts everyone into position.
He's the glue.
But as you said, it's whether or not, because Gomez was the guy with Van Dijk for most of last season, got injured. Matip came in, did so well, he couldn't drop him. So it's who he decides to go with. I've got a funny feeling he might put Gomez at right back tomorrow. I really, really don't want him to do that.
Yeah.
And I've got a funny feeling Emery might start Pepe. So it's gonna, it will be interesting. But once he decides who's going to be out of the two, you'll know. Roma wanted Lovren, roofs collapse. If Lovren's calm being the fourth choice centre half, I'm fine because I don't want him anywhere near the starting lineup for now. Too many mistakes. But yeah, once he decides who he wants out of the two, at the moment I actually go with Matip though.
Yeah,
Big as Joe Gomez fans I am, I still think the likes of him and Ox are getting into their stride after their injuries last season, and so I'd go with Matip for now. And he's more of a goal threat as well, Matip as well. Might nick something for us from a set piece or something like that, you know. So
something else regarding the Liverpool side, I know it's kind of question marks over who starts centre half. The other big one is the goalkeeper. I mean, Alisson is amazing, but he is not going to be playing in this game. Is Adrian? He's going to be playing in goal. Yeah, exactly. Thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, you see the mistake against Southampton, and that's going to happen. He's not an elite keeper. Like he didn't even play at West Ham. I think Darren Randolph started games over him at West Ham. I think that tells you all you need to know. I think that's definitely an error because Liverpool's build-up play from the back is all about Alisson, and so I think it'll be interesting to see how they change that and who takes more responsibility. And because ultimately for the centre backs and Van Dijk, I feel like he's made such a big impact, but it's always in the back of his mind that anything that he misses or Matip misses.
1 second.
Cheers, Jake. Yeah, I was talking about Adrian dropping stuff.
Yeah.
I think he should look at you, mate. No, I just think that for the centre backs, it's such a reassurance thing to have that big commanding presence behind them. And I think with Adrian, there's not that. Because do you think that he joined Liverpool to expect to start?
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
No.
Absolutely not. So I think that's definitely an area that they can target. And if I was Emery, I'd say to the players, pepper that goal and just see how soft his hands are, and see if he's going to start palming things out. Because you can really target him. And with keepers, as we know, mate, with Loris Karius, you can really target them mentally, and that's the area you can get at.
Yeah. Right, chaps, kind of one last question then really for the pair of you. We'll do it individually. Daniel, we'll start with you. Last season was pretty amazing, 96 points. I mean, no Premier League title, but 96 points is pretty special. European champions, an amazing season. Do you believe that you can... What do Liverpool fans say it's our year? Do you believe it's your year?
Oh, of course, always believe. As a fan, always believe. Have some form of optimism, but I think tomorrow's going to tell a lot in terms of where we are, because Norwich and Southampton have had the quality to get goals against us. Arsenal have the quality in their team to get goals, though I'm not sure about them at the back. So tomorrow will tell a lot about whether or not we can do it at home or not, and then hopefully Tottenham already did a favour for us. Hopefully Bournemouth can do something on Sunday against City, because I think it will be us two again.
Yeah.
Not sure either side will accumulate as many points as last season, but definitely believe, always believe.
Right.
Always.
And then I suppose for Arsenal, well, we keep talking about transition, don't we? Last year, first season under Unai Emery. He's got a 3-year deal, but he's got an interesting clause, hasn't he, that they can mutually decide to end it after 2 years. So this year, if Arsenal don't finish in the top 4, I'd imagine they'll probably part ways unless there's been some serious progression. What's your thoughts on this season? What do you think Unai Emery can do?
I think this is it for him, really, because there's no doubt about the transfer activity in the summer. I think we spent more than any other Premier League club, and when these rumours came out of they only had 45 million spend, that just hasn't happened. And with the owners, they've come out and said, Josh Kroenke said the other day, we want Arsenal to be winning Premier League titles. So if that's the ambition, then Emery has to match that. And I'm not sure personally, I know it's only 2 games in the season, but I saw this last year. I just think he has to nail down what his starting 11 is. The hallmark of a strong side, a strong team, is having your team and playing it week in, week out. Like Liverpool, how often did they change up their team? And most of the time it was the same. City as well, they used their squad depth in the Champions League, and I think Emery has to do that. He has to pick a team and set it. And if he does keep chopping and changing, and we somehow do miss out on the top 4, then I think his head's going to be on the shopping block, Jay. And I think this is a decisive season now, because that squad for me is more than good enough to get top 4. It's way more good enough. And you look at the other clubs around them, who else is competing for it? I'd say Tottenham, in that out of Spurs, Chelsea, United and Arsenal. Tottenham are the only other secure team in terms of manager and the structure. He feels good there. With the other two, Chelsea and United, I'd say they're in pretty much disarray compared to the others. So if they don't get top 4 this season, it's got to be on Emery's head, no one else.
Right then, chaps, I suppose there's only really one last question to ask the pair of you. Mike, I'll start with you. Stick your neck on the line. Let's have a score prediction, please, for Saturday.
Do you want me to go with my head or my heart?
Both, please, mate.
So realistically, if we go negative, then I don't think it's going to be a good day for Arsenal. I think they have to fight fire with fire.
Arsenal don't do negative.
Yeah, they don't. And Unai Emery said...
well anyway.
No, they don't. And Unai Emery said, if I'm going to win a game, I'd rather win 5-4 than win 1-0. So realistically, I think it could be a 3-1. But if I go with my heart, I'm going to go for an Arsenal win. And I would say... No, not an Arsenal. That's stupid. No, forget it. Forget about that. 2-2. 2-2. I think both high-scoring sides...
Right.
And both a bit shoddy defensively at the beginning of the season.
I love this. So your head and heart both neither say Arsenal win. Daniel, what about you, mate?
5-1 again, light work.
Easy.
5-1 again. No,
Serious,
I'm playing.
5-1? No.
I'm going to go 2-1 Liverpool.
2-1 Liverpool.
2-1 Liverpool. I think we'll do it. I think we'll do it.
Well, there we have it. Mike's head and heart. Neither predicts an Arsenal win. Nothing for a bit of confidence going into this one. By the way, follow both of these guys on Twitter for some Arsenal and Liverpool chat. So yeah, like, subscribe, click for notifications, and the FCK the news. We'll be back every single week right here on the channel.